Yo, yo, yo. What's up, man? Terrell, Hall of Fame. D-Line, TBKC. American Bully History is what we doing here. And I'm going to tell y'all like this, man. I went over this before, but I'm going to keep on going over this. Don't let anybody in this community fool you to make you believe that they just created a dog and they were the one. And let me tell y'all, when this breed got started, you know, it was already shit to work with that was around. You know, it was very large pit bulls, massive pit bulls. You know, certain people want you to believe that they started the breed. What we did is we organized the breed, more so than anything. You know, we got into a situation where we saw something and we capitalized on it. We saw these, you know, quote unquote pit bulls on steroids, and we really pushed and went forward to organize the pit bull on steroid look. And the name, which eventually became American Bully. But the dogs themselves could be found all over the country. I mean, all over the country. It wasn't one person who had them. Before there was an ABKC, there was a Gotti line. You know, before there was a Razor's Edge, there was the place that Razor's Edge got their dogs from. It was before, you know what I mean? You know, this is a long history of bigger dogs that wouldn't have fit the UKC or the AKC model, and they were pretty much rejects, you know, that had gotten too big. You know, like I've told y'all before, you know, my Dobermans are you know, 130, 140 pound dogs. They can never compete in the ring. What I like about them is that they cover ground at an incredible rate, and they'll snatch your face off if you try to come starting any drama. But they're not show dogs. But this is not because someone mixed them. What happens is in Great Danes you have some dogs like the in Dobermans you have dogs like the Great Dane that are very big dog. And you know, with some of these more mastiff style dogs that were in the Doberman, the genetics pull that way. So especially in places in Europe, they like to breed them big because bigger is more intimidating. They work, they can cover a lot of ground really fast, and people like them for working, you know what I mean? And they go with that. You'll hear different names with the Doberman, but truth of the matter is that it wasn't like a mixture to where they had to make it big. You will notice that some of the very big dogs go back to the same lines as some of the more standard dogs that can show, and it was the same thing with the bullies. In the bullies, you would have dogs in the same family where you would have a dog that was basically a small standard, and you know, have a littermate brother that was an XL. They were pulling from different directions. When you have a lot of different breeds in any dog, you know, it'll manifest itself, and the genetics will pull one way or the other. What happened with our breed is that we just started believing that it was more important to take credit for everything instead of tell the actual bully history. The dogs never were supposed to have any kind of bulldog in there, although different people mixed it in to try to cheat to acquire a look. When other breeders, like, you know, like myself, and I can say this with no reluctancy, I've never ever mixed a dog in. I've never taken a bulldog. I've never taken any dog. The dogs that you see me have are what they are. That's why I have no problem with DNA testing, and that's why I've been pushing DNA testing even when I was still friends and an advisor at with the ABKC. I've always felt that every dog should be DNA tested, so as we got to this point, which would be a decade later, that we would have a gene pool of DNA tested dogs that we could prove all of these dogs were what they say they were, and it would make it an even playing field. But that never happened, you know. But in this breed, you know, going back to say 2004-ish, when the ABKC was, you know, first getting rolling. And the thing of it is that Larry Durant, you know, Blue Nation was already having big shows with Caesar Milan. Y'all remember the dudes that Pimp My Ride, West Coast Customs, they was out there. I mean, you had many, and they weren't the only celebrities. You had many celebrities that would come to his shows. At one show, you know, that I went to, you had Little Row, you had Nemesis, Blue Gangster, you had Monster, you know what I mean? You had King Lion. It was Paco's first show. I mean, you name it. It was just, I mean, I could keep going on and on and on. In the house, you had Rich, you know what I mean? You had Dave, you know, and all of us from the Elite Edge. You had Carlton Pratt, of course, was there. I mean, you had a who's who of what now is the bullies world, and there wasn't no such thing as the ABKC at this time. You know, that was strictly fun show, get it in, big collars, cats representing the breed. You had a lot of different, you know, a lot of different nice dogs in the house. 21 Blackjack, and God rest his soul, Ed Shepherd was there. You know, it was a turnout, and this was happening way before there was any registry, and we still called them pit bulls back then. So don't y'all get into this follow Moses to the promised land bullshit that people try to feed y'all, that they just took everything and put it on their shoulders and created a breed. This was a collective effort by a lot of people. Like I said, what we actually did is we just brought the shit together. We turned it, you know, it was football before the NFL. We just sort of made the NFL and said, let's bring this thing together, let's market it, let's put some rules to it, and let's make it into something more special than what it already is. But you know, these dogs have been around for decades. You know, they just never had a real name, and like I say, they were pretty much hid off in the dark. Every breed has dogs that are rejects, so to speak. You know, you have anything from a giant schnauzer, boxers that are too small or too big. Now, if you take those genetics and you keep on breeding on those genetics, you can make smaller dogs or you can make larger dogs. That's all we did, and that was all the plan. Now, of course, when you bring money into the equation, people start cheating. You know what I mean? Pockets got popular. Next thing you know, the dogs start looking like Frenchies and English bulldogs because popularity wins out over morals and ethics, to take your time to use some skill to breed a better dog. So they screwed the breed over there. When the big dogs, which at the beginning they were popular, you know, and the money started going up, you started seeing people show up with dogs that look like, American bulldogs and different dogs that you knew, like immediately, like, oh man, you know, they open their mouth and the underbite is all horrible, and you start to see that whole bunch of wrinkles, and you start to see some of these dogs that typically it was like a blessing if we could get our dogs right over 100 pounds. And you start seeing people show up with 130, 140 pound dogs, and you knew, you know, like a lot of the Camelot dogs, they were whatchamacallit, they were bull mastiffs. Not bull mastiffs, Bordeaux's. You know, you could see it in them. They were red. You know, they had this a lot of the straight stifles, that stiff rear end. You know, and I owned a Bordeaux, so I knew what qualities and traits to look for immediately in those dogs. And it's sort of sad that we've come to this point, but I'm telling y'all, you know, in the true spirit of the American bully, there was no mixing. These were overgrown pit bull, you know what I mean, staffy, collaborations. And it's sad that we've gotten to a point that can't still exist in our world, because people have sold out the breed at every angle. We keep on seeing it with different additions that weren't allowed a couple years ago because it's getting popular. And you know, nothing is for the health of the dogs, nothing is for the stability of the dogs. This is like a Ponzi scheme. Everybody's investing into the American bully, but at the end of the day, it's going to collapse. It's going to collapse because it doesn't have a foundation. If you ask what the American bully foundation is, it's that simple. The American Bully Foundation is a joke, because the people who are in charge are able to be bought, you know, only have motives for fame, only have motives for money, so anything can be allowed. You know, years ago, we would have never dreamed that a Merle would be welcomed into the show ring, and now it's happening. We would have never thought that Miyagi would ever even get any kind of rep after all the shit that went on with him. Now it's happening. You know, we would have never thought that Bullseye would be allowed, but now you have Bullseye dogs. We would have never thought, never in a million years thought that exotics would be accepted in, but this is what it is. This is why sometimes you see people get in more heated arguments. This is why you see sometimes that people get, you know, a little volatile about these things, because a lot of us really did care about these dogs and really was pushing for the breed. Your American Bully is supposed to be a nasty animal. Not nasty in character, but just nasty in looks, just gorgeous. You know, you're talking about 85, 90, 100, 110 pounds of muscle. Sheer muscle, you know, tight, pretty skin, the cheeks, you know, flared out cheeks, you know, beautiful conformation, move and flow, athletic dog that if you want him to get out there and run, he can run and move around, but he's got a stable enough temperament to be around kids and chill with the kids, and still, you know, even to the point of being able to chill with other pets. This was our goal. The first major goal that we had with the American Bully was to change their temperament. A lot of the older dogs were hot. You know, Cairo's mom, Cairo, they were very, very hot dogs. They would snatch some shit. And it was nothing wrong with that because of where they came from. But our goal was to say, hey, we can make this dog a family dog, and we can take a lot of that out of them, so we wouldn't breed a lot of the hot dogs. You know what I mean? To try to bring it down. But the process has been, you know, pretty much ripped off. You know, if you can pay for it, you can own it. And now at this time, you know, a lot of people who've invested a lot of money for all the wrong reasons into the American bully community own it. And it's going to be a rough fight for us to get back, but I plan on fighting that fight. But hey, man, I got weights to lift, and I got a lot of stuff to do, man. I got a lot of people to call that I haven't talked to in a long time. So y'all, thank y'all for your time. I promise y'all we're going to get some real videos. This part on my camera is still missing, so I just got to do videos in the car and shit. But until next time, man, I'll get y'all with y'all. Much love. Peace.